Reflecting on scarcity uncovers true values beyond business
successful in a
success.
sense on paper, right? They're making more money, right? They bought the bigger house. They're living the life that they wanted on paper. But if they have a family and they have kids, most often there's a kind of a notion of, the family is kind of paying the price of that business owner, working so hard on that business to continue to be successful. And at some point, everybody kind of reaches the same point of whether they're asking themselves the actual question or just feeling it. There's this notion or a feeling or sense of questioning of, is this enough? Is this worth it all?
Yeah.
Right? What is this all for? I can relate to so much of what you said in the beginning. You joined an industry, the military. You felt like you were kind of lost. You didn't know why you needed to be there, and you felt like everybody else around you did. You had to make a multi-year, I think you said 9-year commitment into a culture that was very unfamiliar to you. And I can relate to that in the sense that the wealth management culture was very unfamiliar to me. I felt like every other advisor around me when I started back in 2012 knew exactly why they were in the business. In fact, they went to college and they studied whether it's economics or finance. Studied something different, and I had to kind of find my own path, find my own mentors. But for these business owners that are kind of grappling with this problem and this question, the problem being, I'm successful, and yet what is this all for, right? How does leadernomics apply to them?
That's such an important area of thought that I'll give you two thoughts on this. One, this is where I come back to this notion of scarcity, which I think it's given kind of a rough label, I think, over the last decade or so. People hear the word scarcity and they immediately think limitation. And I've been one to always say the beauty of economics teaching us scarcity being something that's universal for every human is that scarcity isn't a limitation. Scarcity is what I call the abundant guide. And the reason is because it's not until you recognize that you don't have all of the time that you want. You will never have all of the resources that you want. You will never have all of the things that you want. And so the question becomes, what are the most important things? If I can't have everything, then at least can I have what's most important? And so scarcity to me is the very first realization and question that any person should really consider from the standpoint of this notion of understanding limitations, not be a negative thing, but be the positive thing that makes me consider, what are my values? What are my non-negotiables? What are the priorities?